Welcome to Cold Antler Farm, vlog number 8. It's time to tell some scary stories. We're using black and white because it's spookier. Are you scared, Joseph? Are you scared? Are you scared? So it's pouring outside. It's been pouring all day. And besides some soggy chores this morning, I didn't really feel like filming a video outside. And since everything I really want to talk about is outside, I was wondering what would be a good indoor activity for a day like today. Spooky story. This is something that happened here on this farm just a couple of years ago, and I'll never forget it. So it was during our first winter here at Cold Antler Farm that I noticed something kind of strange. I was outside the farmhouse, but the farmhouse itself was lit up. There were lights on in all the rooms, and up on the sheep hill I could see into the house. I was maybe 100 yards away, but you can still see outlines of, rooms, furniture. Just regular lamps and rooms were enough light to let me see what was going on inside. Now, keep in mind I live alone. There's no one else here, there's no roommates. So I was on the sheep hill, minding my own business. Well, minding the sheep actually, checking on their food and water, and it was winter. So it was snowing and my mind was on getting up the hill and not sliding down the ice. It was dark. It was dark because it was around 5 or 6 o'clock, and at that time on this mountain in the winter, it's practically pitch black unless you have street lights or house lights or lamp light. And I had a flashlight. That's all I had. So besides some sheep and some snow, there was a light where the house was, inside the rooms, but there was no other light to be seen. Now, I had asked the realtor when I bought this house, because I'm a pretty superstitious person, I asked if there was any kind of weird activity or haunting, and he assured me he had not heard about anything, which is a pretty safe way for a realtor to plead the fifth. It's an old house. It was built in the 1860s. Who knows what kind of activity or things could be going on here. But I tried not to think about it, and I tried to just focus on the farm and not scare myself silly. So I didn't think much of anything when I turned around to look at the upstairs office window of my house, and I saw a 6 or 7 foot tall human being staring back at me. The man's shape was up against the window, and all I could see besides the black form was shaggy hair and some shaggy hair on his head, not on the rest of his body, and some really red-like eyes. They were golden red, almost orange, and they were staring at me. And this window is a good 2 or 3 feet up off the ground, and to stand and fill the whole window, you had to be a ginormous man. Now, I live alone. To see this form of a human standing up and just staring at you, when you know you live alone in your house and you're outside looking at what should be an empty house, my heart just stopped beating and my stomach felt like someone had just taken the insides and made them the outsides. So I'm on the sheep hill and I'm terrified. I'm literally shaking. My teeth are chattering. I am confused. I'm a little concerned. I don't know how anyone could have gotten in my home. I assume no one had because I hadn't seen any cars in the driveway. I've heard no people. There were no footprints anywhere around except my own, which meant there was something that's always been inside the house, and it was now looking at me. I stare at him. He stares at me. I don't know what to do. He doesn't know what to do. But it's clear that we've seen each other. All I have was my flashlight, and the beam isn't far long enough to do anything except get the glint off the eyes. I can't see what's in the window. So I just stare at it, because I think if it disappears, then I know it's a ghost. If it breaks the window or breaks through the glass or picks up a weapon, then I know it's a person. I just wanted to know what it was. So I stared, and he stared back. I finally took a step towards the house, and at that point, the giant man in the window barked. It was Gibson. It was you. He was a young pup around 6 months old, and he got himself to stand with his hind legs on the windowsill and his front paws reaching on the top banister, and so his entire length was 4 feet taller than the window, and his eyes were reflecting in the flashlight, and I laughed for a good 10 minutes because holy crow, if you had known how terrifying that was, and then to know it was just your dog with his whole body pressed up against a window. Border collies keep you on your toes, man. They really do. So that's the only scary story I have from this farm, and I hope you get a laugh out of it. That's not what Halloween's about to me. I don't even really celebrate Halloween, but this time of year and all the celebrations that go along with that holiday, they're wonderful. They hit close to home. They're super special. As the month goes on, I'll hopefully have more stories about everything from what I do on October 31st to what other people do to what you do. We'll share stories, tradition, all those good things. Thank you so much for watching, and